All right, good morning. We are here. We're live. Just get everything going here. Make sure everything's working. Welcome everybody. As people roll in on the live stream, if you're watching on the replay, I always like to say thanks for tuning in. But you can always catch us live 8 o'clock Pacific time, 8 a.m. Monday to Friday. Come on, jump on live, talk about what's happening in the markets, talk about TFSAs, talk about investing, talk about a little bit of coffee, which I have, which is hot, the coffee crew, and it's a great, good conversation. So it'd be great to have you join live, but if not, replay is always there. Always appreciated. We'll get it out of the way. If you're watching this right now, to hit that like button. If you're not subscribed. Do all that good YouTube stuff, helps out the channel, and it gets it out to other people. Thanks so much. It is Tuesday. Good morning, everybody. We'll go through and see who's here after I have a sip of coffee. Good stuff. So welcome, everybody. And Candace, always first. Good morning. Cool shades on today. Good stuff. Good morning. Always good to have you here. I always appreciate your views. I saw you were back in action yesterday on the channel watching old videos. I'm trying to catch up on comments. I promise I will comment on everybody's that if you go back to any of these old videos, I will give you a comment. I will get through it. Candace, I think I have a few still outstanding for you, but I will get there. And I saw your ChatGPT joke. We'll get to that in a second because we're going to talk about chat. We always seem to talk about it's the conversation lately is ChatGPT. Stan, good morning though. Good to have you here. Hopefully your day's going okay. Your week's off to a good start. Tuesday. And there we go. Good stuff. And Paul, good to have you here. I saw that you had left a comment saying you're going to set your reminder. So there you go. You made it. Good morning. I see ChatGPT is getting desperate. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit with ChatGPT. You can elaborate on that with what you think, but it's always good to, we'll see. That seems to be AI seems to be the buzzword in the, in the investing, space right now. It seems to be what everybody is talking about, AI. There was actually a post by Google, which I'll pull up as well. They're going to be launching a bit more into beta. It's been going, but they're going to be launching their AI as well, more to more people coming up. But as people roll in, don't be afraid to say hello. You do have to be subscribed to be able to chat. But if you're watching and you've never said hey or hi, by all means, go ahead. And as always, if you have questions, put them in the comments and we'll be happy to answer. If I can't answer them, someone probably will be able to in the chat, at least steer you in the right direction. But let's get this joke out of the way. Candace, I left the music at the start because I saw this joke come in. I thought, okay, well, we'll leave the disco dance music at the very start of the stream. ChatGPT joke of the day though was, why did the 70s police officer invest in a disco music company? He wanted to be a dancing cop on Wall Street. These are. I don't know if these are getting worse or better. But if bad is good, then these are getting better. Candace, that's so on the things. MC, good morning. Always good to see you here, even though your icon never changes. You're special. It's always good to have you. And MC, we shared last week. I don't blame you, but I blame you. Is the about investing at the close of the market versus the opening of the market. And I was supposed to, obviously it being Monday yesterday, was supposed to be doing my dollar cost averaging into my TFSA by putting $100 in, buying a share of VDY, a share of PSA, and then the rest into the S&P. I forgot yesterday because I'm so used to having this routine going on. And then I did the live stream and then I just jumped right into work and was like in front of the computer all day working. And then I looked up and it was like 1:30. So markets were closed. So I have to do that today. So I forgot to do that. It's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. I will get it caught up, but but anyways, that's what happened yesterday. So I didn't get a chance. So that's why there's no community posts with any kind of investment yesterday, because I forgot. And that's the one thing to remember about, I don't have it set up. Maybe I should start to just get it set up on auto, but again, at least to get the deposit in there. But, this was actually a conversation I had to, after I left the live stream yesterday, there was a webinar I got sent from Wealthsimple to join up on. And that was actually one of the questions and one of the comments they were talking about was, because there were some questions at the end, and I hope they send out the recording, because the hard part is after 9 o'clock, my day work starts. So I wasn't fully fully invested into listening to it where I should have been. But of course, if I'm working, I have to work. But I caught some of the questions that were going, because I had my headphones on, and one of the ones was like, if you have a lump sum, what do you if you have a chunk of cash, and what do should you dollar cost average into it, into what you want to do. And this was more for the webinar was more focused towards like the invest side, so on their robo-advisor side. So they were kind of referring to answers based on that. And I mean, of course, Wealthsimple is going to say put it all in because they want all the funds, right? But it was a good point about dollar cost averaging versus doing a lump, like a larger lump sum payment. And it's like, if you're going to be doing a lump sum payment, you have X amount of dollars, you're going to put that all in, and the investment's going to do it. It's going to invest what you have to do. It's going to put it all into the market, and you're not timing things as much or whatever. But the biggest thing with dollar cost averaging and putting in, just separating these deposits to slowly add it to your investments is, number one, you might forget to do it 1 week or what have you, or the market might change and you'll stop doing it. And that was the biggest thing. So that was kind of a takeaway I got. So just some kind of things to think about. I'm hoping they send out the recording of it, not that I can share it necessarily, but I'll listen to it again. But there we go. Oh, bad jokes. Yeah. Okay. For ChatGPT. Yeah. Well, if you type in, give me a bad pun joke about Wall Street and disco and police officers, it'll spit out a joke probably within about 10 seconds, which is pretty interesting. ChatGPT, that's for sure. I'm going to pull up. I have a couple articles actually. We'll skip over. I got one first, but let me just pull up 1 second here. I thought I bookmarked this, so I want to make sure I did. I did do it. So I'll pull that up. But first, this kind of is relevant to our investing, and let's screen share this. RSP and retirements. Well, not just RSP, but this is about investing in general and retirement. This kind of popped up, and I'm really thinking about RSPs now because it's RSP season, right? So I have to get that taken care of. But Canadians, let me know in the comments what you think about this. Canadians are now expecting to need $1.7 million in order to retire. So it's a Bank of Montreal survey. That is up 20% from 2020, which is interesting. It's a large amount. Hopefully, if people are on track, that's awesome. So it's something to kind of look at what the average Canadian is thinking, right? They're thinking probably more. They need more for retirement because of inflation. That's probably just really on people's minds, right? Everything more expensive. So that is what the average, from the survey, I think it was 1,500 Canadians, is thinking 1.7. So it's something to definitely think about. But this also mentions talking to possibly a financial advisor with your investments, because sometimes that might be actually too much, which is interesting. You sometimes think you might never have too much, but I guess if depending how you with your investments, you might be overestimating things, depending what you need to retire. So something to kind of think about, because it is RSP season. Make sure you're on track. That's kind of everybody I think that watches the channel is trying either they're starting a lot of their investment, whether it's in a TFSA or different things. A lot of people in the channel is TFSA, but there's obviously other investments out there to look at, and just to keep up with things. Don't. And I think everybody does a pretty good job, because that's why you're watching and that's why you're following along. But for people that are maybe new to investing, take this opportunity to learn and to invest in not just investing for your money, but invest your time and research, and make sure that you're set up for retirement with enough money, I guess, and maybe not too much money either. Just something to kind of think about. This was. What I found interesting too, though, is on the survey. Obviously, it's a survey, so it's portions, right? 22% of Canadians plan to retire between the ages of 60 and 69, with the average age of 62. So that's interesting. It's funny. I'm not close. I mean, you say I'm not close to retirement age, but it comes faster than you think it's going to come on, because time flies. And I mean, it's my birthday, so I'm 47. So I haven't even, you always kind of assume, I'm thinking, 65 would be nice, but I think a lot of people work longer if they're able to, right? So something to think about as well, to make sure you have enough funds for when you plan to retire. that would be nice to possibly retire at 60, but sometimes that's maybe a bit of a dream that might not be realized on that. So, and there we go. Let's pull up some comments, because I do see some comments coming in. So I'm gonna MC always. Here we go. Welcome. Here we go. I'm gonna read this because some of it gets cut off. Historically, if you have a lump sum, all in one purchase will outperform, mostly because the market goes up more than it goes down. So if you spread it out, it's more likely you will buy higher over time. That's basically what it said. And the biggest thing was also is if you're, say you have, theoretically it was kind of like if you have $10,000 and you're going to deposit once a month $1,000 or something like that, and if for some reason the market comes down, your emotions take over, right? And you're like, oh, I should maybe wait and not, and so you realize on that you lose out on opportunities potentially as well, because you're if they basically said if you plan to invest, do it either as a lump sum but you have to really just make sure you do it, because that's the one thing. So yeah, good call on that one. It's hard to time things, as we see, right? Like that's the thing with the market. You kind of look at things and it's such an emotional thing. Even if you're investing a small amount, whether you're putting in, if you're starting out and you're putting even $20 a week into something, right? The emotions can kind of take over and you go, oh, it's down today. I'm going to wait. It might come down a little bit, or so many weird things happen with investments, or like for some reason, if it's up, that's awesome. And then you think, oh shoot, it's up. I don't want to put it in there because it's too expensive now. I'm going to wait till it comes down. And like a lot of times timing can never work. And there you go. So, go with the math, I think, and possibly just do if you're able to do a lump sum, then do that, and it takes that emotion out of it, a lot of it anyways. Good call on that one. Yes. 1.7 does seem quite high, because once you have let's just say you cut that back to, it'd be nice, $1 million, right? And sitting in a retirement account, let's just say, for theoretically, it's still going to be making you returns if it's sitting there. It's not like you're going to be pulling out the $1 million into an account that makes zero interest or any kind of that. So if that's what people, I think, maybe don't quite think about. People tend to overestimate due to lack of financial literacy and planning. Makes sense. CPP and OAS coming through, yes, and I think one-ish would be a great for most. That's kind of my goal, is around there with everything, is just over that. But again, it really depends on. There's going to be times when you're not able to put as much into your, if that's my plan to have, let's say, $1 million, right? My TFSA, my goal is to have $100,000, and they're just kind of the challenge for obviously I'll hopefully have more as it grows, but that was kind of the goal of the channel, is to do to get $100,000 in there, and that will keep growing. But also with other investments, like I have that, an old Lira sitting there, and I do have RSPs, and if you work it all out, and your goal is to say have $1 million, you know kind of how much you have to put in each, what you have to put in each month, and able to do it. But sometimes it can't always happen, right? There's obviously different situations arise that you have extra expenses, everything's more expensive, something, there's always that to happen. So carrying through year after year after year you might not be able to put the same amount in every year, so that amount might kind of float. But I think it's just being on top of it, to make sure you are continuing on as best as possible, right? And I always wish, like I always say it, like I always wish I did more when I was younger, because you start to see after you kind of hit a certain amount, and I'm seeing it in the TFSA now. Like once you hit a certain amount of investment in there, the returns really just start to snowball. And I wish I had started earlier. But again, it wasn't as easy earlier, to invest like that kind of stuff. It was definitely more difficult. I'll give it that. Like 20 years ago, there was no easy apps on your phone to be able to buy shares and ETFs and for free. So I'll give it that. It was definitely a bit more unapproachable for a lot of people, which I think is a great thing. Now it makes making it easier for people to invest, even if it's only a little bit, right? And it just shows it adds up. Like if I had started when I was, putting, if I'm trying to think how old I was when TFSA started, I have to go back and look. But I mean, even putting $100 a month in there I'd probably almost be at the 100,000, as now, or not. Not quite, but that would be a good thing. But anyways, but often, okay, as your comment, sorry, MC, often people oversave due to fear, and when they realize how much they actually spend, etc., they wish they retired earlier. It's important to be realistic and run your numbers, etc. Yeah, I think that's why kind of a budget is important, breaking down what you're actually spending your money on. And that's the thing too, when you're younger, you spend more money on things that aren't, well, you're not necessarily are useless, but you spend money on different things in different stages of your life, because you just, number one, you sometimes don't need certain things. As you get older, you've accumulated kind of everything that you want, want or need, like furniture and stuff like that, right? And you're as you get older. I mean, I kind of think my mom is 81, and her expenses are basically for shelter and food, because she doesn't need anything. And she said that, it's like, what do you buy? What is she going to buy? Because she obviously doesn't need anything, that kind of thing. Doesn't need a car, doesn't need all this kind of stuff. But so just think about budget. I guess, we've talked about it before. Get a budget, figure out what you're spending every month, and figure out what you can get socked away. And that's the thing. Dollar cost averaging is best to be robotic. That's the thing. And I broke I will get it deposited going back to usually my Monday deposit MC. It's the part of the robotic part is it's Monday, market opens. This is what I do, and you just get used to it. And if you break that, this is a perfect example, right? Perfect example of breaking that pattern. You have to really be diligent and really robotic and get it into a routine to you want to think about it, but almost not think about it, right? Like you say, robotic, just dollar cost average on a schedule. Yeah. When MC started investing, it was $30 a transaction. That's that's just so crazy to think about. And before that, you had to phone your broker. That's before my day. So if you're dating yourself, that's okay too. But that would be, if you had to phone the broker, it would probably does lead to better investing behavior, I guess. Yeah, because you would have to be a bit more, obviously, it sounds invested into it to want to do it, but it would make good behavior, because you have to be on top of it, right? And not forget. That's the thing with these apps. It's easy if you don't set it up to do it. Like I don't have an automatic deposit into my TFSA. I go ahead. Perfect example. You forget, or you get sidetracked, and if you have to make sure you go back and do it. And Nadia, good to have you here. Hello. Bit late. It's okay. Better late than never. It's always good to have you. I've got your mug today. Oops, Nadia. Show it in the camera there. There we go. I got that for Christmas from Nadia. Thank you. my YouTube mug. But good to have you. Hopefully you're well. And let's, there you go. Yay. Yeah. I got your mug today. Change the mugs up on the coffee, for the coffee crew. Let's pull up next article, and we will get talking about ChatGPT, because that was kind of on the agenda today. But this is one I pulled up. This always popped up, and I always think kind of back to when I owned the shares, Cineplex. Finally kind of making some profits, $10.2 million Q4 profit compared to $21.8 million loss for the prior year. So that's good. I'm not sure what Cineplex is doing today. I sold this. From what I think though, the price is still less than when I sold it. So that was a good kind of sell. I should have sold it a bit sooner, because it was up quite a bit at one point. But for people that are owning Cineplex stock, this was kind of one of those pandemic reopening plays. There we go. So making money. I think it probably helped that there's been some movies out in theaters that people actually want to see. I guess Hollywood is back to making more movies, and going out. But I know I haven't been to a movie theater for, I couldn't tell you the last time, probably now over 3 years. I'm not a big movie theater fan because of the ones with the nice seats and everything are kind of nice, but a lot of times there's just no movies that I would want to see in a theater. And then another time for me is also the people there. You get people beside you always yapping and talking during the movie, and it's noisy and distracting you from the movie. But I prefer to sit down and watch with good headphones and focus on the movie myself. But I guess a lot more people going out to theaters. There we go. Easy access is always a good thing, and that's one thing I like about Wealthsimple. I mean, I've had a few people MC ask about if I've ever tried the other products, and I've kind of looked at a few, but I've just thought, you know what, this works for me. There's some kind of shortcomings into it. I mean, it is simple. They're starting to build more features into it, with things, but it's also very simple, which I think that's a good thing for people that are learning on there. And once you kind of have it set up, it works pretty seamlessly. Even the web version is pretty straightforward to use for that. So it definitely makes it easier to invest. And I think the only thing that's hard about it is really sometimes picking the right ones. That's always a bit of a learning curve when you're starting. But what I have found with Wealthsimple is you can also look at what some of the top ones are, right? And what some of the investments that are popular ETFs. That's kind of a good starting off point to kind of see, and then obviously not just blindly buy, but go back and then do a bit of research on the ETFs to make sure it's right for what you're holding on there. And so it's been good. I also do find some of the Wealthsimple, when they send out I follow them on Twitter, but they also do some like blog article posts and stuff on their website, which I find quite useful as well. When they write them out, in pretty easy to understand investing terms and that kind of stuff, which is handy. And I've also actually started to spend a bit more time on Blossom, and I know a few people on the channel have a Blossom account. A few people that follow the channel have asked me if I have a Blossom account, so I put it on there. I still don't like syncing my portfolio on there. I don't see the point. But I have put all my investments so far on in manually, at least if I'm on Blossom, I should at least be using the features. But there's not bad posts and stuff on there. Different, it's an investment community. It's not overly technical. So just been kind of spending a little bit of time on there. Not a ton. I don't want to say waste time, but you only have so many hours in the day to be able to go to certain social media type things, and YouTube takes up a big chunk of my day. So that's kind of why I mostly focus on YouTube. But always good places to learn, and easy. There's lots of these things. And let's pull up back now. We can talk about chat GPT, and I got two. Hold on here, find that. There we go. Retail investors are flocking to small cap AI firms. Obviously, this is going to be a volatile space, I think, for the next little bit. Everybody's looking for the next big thing. That video that I did, that I shouldn't say I did it. The video that ChatGPT did about investing in AI and everything else was very interesting. And there's a lot of companies out there that are researching and putting out AI. It seems to be the buzzword of it's the buzz investment of 2023. Retail investors, though, piling in to these small cap firms, right? Trying to find the next big thing. I wouldn't necessarily recommend going into some, obviously research, but some of these can be very, very volatile. There was one, the AI software firm C3.ai it had record inflows of 31.4 million, I guess, on Tuesday or Monday, but it's up about 140% this year. So people are looking for AI investments. It's going to be interesting to see who actually, like, what company actually benefit this in investors. I think some big ones to possibly watch. We talked about it yesterday a little bit, though, as well, like all these big ones like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Apple. Apple's been very quiet in terms of I mean, they have Siri, they have AI, but they've been very quiet with the next kind of big thing coming out. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I would say if it was me investing, I think I'd stick to the big ones for now. Microsoft, look for some of those opportunities. We've talked about that a little bit. It's like the big ones: Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and go from that. And there is, on that note, with Google MC, I will get to your comment. There's a blog post on Google that came out yesterday that they posted. So they're obviously feeling the heat from ChatGPT and OpenAI. So they're basically, Google is now going to be starting to. You can find this on their. They have basically like a message, like a blog on Alphabet's website. They do have a blog, and they are talking basically. Well, their AI is called Bard, and they're going to slowly be rolling this out to the public in the next few weeks, and it's going to be basically integrating it into some of the search on Google, which will be interesting, and they'll be starting to move it into. I'm going to assume, obviously, probably some of their other products, right? It'll be interesting to see what comes through with that. Definitely something to kind of watch. Here they have kind of a sample of what it will integrate into search. And the responses will be coming from AI as opposed to just posts from websites. So that is interesting on the top, how they're going to kind of build that in. I think that's a bit of an edge that Google has over say something like ChatGPT, because Google's Google, and people go to Google to search things. So they'll almost be kind of using this Bard, as they call it, without knowing they're using Bard. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the. It's almost like the AI is like a cold war between all these companies. I think coming out that we'll see a lot of things this year coming out at us that will appear from these different companies, because someone will try to win, and ultimately I guess some company will win, but it's figuring out what one that is. And I did hear that as well, MC. I'll have to check that out later. I'm not sure what time it is, but Powell is speaking today at the Economic Club. That will be kind of interesting to see. I'll have to see what they talk about. I think that's maybe why the market is a little bit kind of kind of a little bit lower today, kind of waiting to see what he says. So we'll have to see how that pans out. It'll either be good or bad for the market, but again, not day trading or anything like that. So we'll have to kind of see. But always interesting to see how that kind of comes out, the dialogue. And that's kind of what I've gotten out of it too as well. MC, CEO of Google, has basically said for Bard is like, get it out there, get it going, and that's, I think, what they started to do. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm a Google user. It'll be interesting to see how they possibly implement it into maybe Gmail. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, like with autocomplete and all that kind of stuff in Gmail. It might be a game changer, in terms of rewriting things, because there is other AI products that are out there that help you write. There's like Grammarly is one of them. I do have Grammarly in my account because it helps with helps with spelling, helps with grammar, making sure when you're typing your emails up, it's everything's kind of relatively correct and worded properly. Very helpful. And I know people that do copywriting for work that use Grammarly to edit their copyright, their blog posts, that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see it eventually. The thing with that, like comparing, adding stuff into Gmail, eventually it's like the cost of everything, kind of, there's going to be no extra cost, involved. You won't need Grammarly. You won't need any kind of it'll autocomplete stuff for you. It's pretty amazing, actually. So it'll be interesting to see what Google does, and I will keep an eye out on Google search if I'm starting to see any type of AI answers and that kind of stuff to different Google search, which would be interesting. This is probably going to be a big shakeup for SEO companies as well, right? Because obviously people that work on websites and try and get clicks to their websites, if the AI starts taking over, people might not have to visit websites anymore. You might get your answer right at Google for what you're actually looking for, which is pretty crazy when you do think about how that could actually happen. So it's all hands on a deck, like you said. So I'll have to do a bit more. I have to do a bit more research into Google Bard, because I've just kind of basically read that blog post they did, and once it gets released, I'll see what kind of, like, I did do a video. I always find it kind of interesting what these products can do. So I'll play around and see if there's a way to get a Google Bard AI to create any kind of video for me for YouTube, that kind of thing, or any kind of description on the video or titles for the video, and even content and transcript. So always interesting to see what's out there. Trevor, hi, welcome. I think good to have you here. Welcome everybody. Hi all. Always good to have you here. That is, it's okay to be, and it's okay. All good to be late. Tuning in is always fine. It's good to have you. Good to have you here. There's always a bunch of people watching. So if anybody is watching and hasn't done so yet already, I'd like to say hit that like button. I'll get that out of the way a couple times during the stream. But it's always appreciated. Helps the channel out. On that note of the channel, we're about halfway through the live stream for channel updates. I did do a Wealthsimple venture fund update yesterday, and pleasantly surprised at the beginning of this month, because it's finally invested into out of the cash U.S. cash portion investment, and it's invested into the venture fund. They did the sale of the. You can go back and watch the video. The sale of the U.S. account, dollar accounts, was done, and then reinvested back into Wealthsimple venture fund. I don't know how much. From my understanding, this is about a 10-year. What they're saying is about a 10-year investment. So it is a long time to have things invested in there, but I put a portion, as everybody kind of knows. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how much it will. I'll still do the updates on the channel, because there's a few people that are interested in it, and really kind of what the comments I've had is like no one else is doing it on YouTube. So I guess that's kind of a good thing, but I don't know how much changes or that kind of thing is going to happen now in the shorter term, so the updates might be a bit more infrequent, but I will still update the channel if I see anything that kind of has changed. There's still a small portion kind of sitting in cash, not a lot. Most of it was sold off and went into the fund. So there'll be a few dividends coming through from that, but nothing really too exciting. And I don't know what kind of investment will be coming back from the venture fund in the short term. We'll have to see. That's, I guess, part of the interest and fun of that one. So hopefully that one does well. I think it's it's obviously like anything. It's always risky to invest in certain things that are different. But it was a portion of my portfolio, so I thought I might as well try and take advantage, and we'll see what happens in 10 years. It's in about 10 years, I guess, is what they're saying. So we'll have to see. That'll give me something to look forward to in terms of a long-term investment. I'll be almost if we're talking about retirement, maybe I'll almost be retired by the time that comes out. So there we go. That was it, and I will have an update into the Wealthsimple TFSA. I will get that filmed. I did the last one during the week. I didn't do one during the weekend. But I will get one out, so we have an update on that. I will get the deposit done today, and I will get an update out in the next couple days for sure. I usually like to get one of those out by midweek. We're not quite midweek yet, but almost there. And there we go. That was all of the news that I had to share. If anybody has any comments, questions, now would be the time to get them into the comment section, and we can go off in any direction that anybody decides that they want to go in. I guess to start it out, does anybody MC, good question on that one. It is locked up. The restrictions on it, it's an unregistered account. You cannot have it in any type of registered account. So you can't have it in a TFSA. You can't have it in RSP. You cannot sell until it's finished. They're saying 10 years, like basically 10 years, and so it is locked up. And the only way that it would be liquidated is if, for example, the only way to kind of get out of it is if you passed away. You don't want that to happen, or if there was like a bankruptcy. Yeah, I believe, and I think the third one would be if there was like any type of marital breakdown. That would be, I think, a reason to be able to do it, but pretty much locked in for the stake. And that's, I think, why I know there were some people that had started. You could invest in it, and it carried it in the cash component a while for MC. It was I want to say a good. I could look when it first got announced. Just let me double check. Let me see when I first put the deposit in. I could go back on my channel and look, but it's easier just to check quickly on my phone. I deposited back in, sorry, it's just taking a little bit of time to load, back in May of 2022. So I started to do it there. I kind of slowly put some funds in, and it got invested in the Purpose US Cash Fund. So back since May, at that point, you could withdraw if you wanted to, because it wasn't locked into the actual fund yet. It was just sitting in the Purpose Cash, US Cash, and you were making the dividends that came through, and that was, so that was fine. And then they actually sent out kind of a few notices along the way with emails, MC, saying, this is the final day, kind of up. You have to, have your deposit in by, X date, and then it will be locking up. And so you had some ample time to kind of, if it was sitting in that, you could still pull it out if you want to. I think some people probably obviously did, because obviously the market didn't do great, right? So if you need funds for other places, but what they were kind of, I didn't put a huge portion of my you weren't allowed to put like all of your portfolio into it. So they based a lot of what the minimum amount was $5,000 that they were asking for. I'm sure you could get away with probably less if you just had a little bit less, had less in there, but they were saying kind of like $5,000 in order to make it worthwhile. And then it got basically, locked in, and it's off to the races. So we'll have to see. It'd be interesting to see how that kind of carries through. I'm interested in it, but I don't. Again, it's almost a little bit opaque because it's kind of sitting in a, if you know on the invest side, the way it looks like it's just kind of, it's sitting in the share. It's not. It's basically called the WS 100. So it's very, you don't really kind of know exactly where things are at this point. But I'm hoping they'll at least send some updates along the way on what things are doing. I guess obviously if there's any maybe fluctuations with value, I can keep an eye on that. But I don't expect a lot of change right away on that one. So we'll have to see. But great questions. It's always kind of fun. Let's pull up. We haven't yet because we're kind of getting near towards the end. We haven't shared the Coffee Crew watch list for a while, but a little bit of red out there. So for those that are watching that are new watching the stream, we kind of keep. These are some of the stocks that some of the Coffee Crew not members, but Coffee Crew subscribers to the channel are kind of watching. And if you had something that you wanted to add to the list to kind of watch, I'm going to eventually get this over into a watch list that I can share. I just haven't done that yet. There's not enough time in the day to do all these things that I want to do, but that is there. We're just kind of watching that. There's a few that we also actually did some. We actually do have some of these tech ETFs, and these were talking a little bit, not necessarily about ChatGPT, but a lot of if you're thinking tech is going to be good for growth in this year, there was a few of the tech ETFs to kind of watch that were recommended. And we do also have RSP ETFs. I still have to kind of do that. I'm working on my RSP right now to figure out how much I can actually put in there. And there's some RSP ETFs that we talked about, but the main one is obviously the Coffee Crew that are kind of watching. And I think MC, I think I was looking at today, Lithium Ionic Corp. This one jumped out at me today because I know I think that was your suggestion. So that one has been having a pretty decent month in year to date. Everything seems to be doing decent year to date. That's the thing. So we'll take these down days as some opportunity, maybe, I think, going forward. And there we go. That's all, everybody. It's coming up to about 1:45. We usually go to about 1:45. So get your last questions in. Is anybody? I guess ask some questions to you. Everybody here that's watching. Is anybody buying anything? What's on everybody's radar to kind of for their next purchase? I'm going to be going in and doing I will go in today later on and do the purchase for my dollar cost average. I'll get that out of the way. That's my typical one for the week. I'm sticking to my plan this year, VDY, VFV, and building up a little bit of a cash position while the interest rate coming out is pretty kind of decent, kind of have that in there for some opportunity maybe down the road. And I have to get my deposit done. I will do that. I'm going to do that as soon as I get off the stream. We'll do that today. It's all good. And then again, if anybody has any topics that they want to, or see, we're coming towards the end of this one, but if they have any topics that you kind of want to talk about and any kind of upcoming stream, if anything catches your eye, I know MC has done it a few times. If any kind of articles that you're reading somewhere kind of catches your eye and you think it might be worthwhile to share with me, but also share with the community, send the link in an email. They're always appreciated. MC, you've sent a bunch. I do appreciate those. I do read them. And if there's anything else you have, obviously, MC, if you're still watching, is fire them my way. I do really appreciate that. There's lots of information out there, and it's always interesting to see if anybody catches something. If anything catches anybody's eye, send it my way. You can find the contact for my email in the about page of the channel. So easy to find me, easy to email. It's a Gmail. Shoot me a few links. Always appreciate those. And if there's some good ones that come through, I'll definitely share them to the screen as well. And go forward with that way. In terms of the channel, I know we talked about it a little bit at the beginning. Candace, thank you for watching all of a lot of the past streams. Is really helping out the channel. The goal of the channel is to eventually start to get a few pennies from Google from ads to be able to start to reinvest in the portfolio. That's the goal. Will help out. So every view helps. I do appreciate it. And of course, if you're watching, tuning in live helps. That's the best thing you can do. The best thing you can do to help out is, well, number one, watch, hit the like button. And if you know anybody that you might, friend, family that might find the stream fun to join onto, send them the link. It's the more the merrier for everybody. And or send them to the channel. Tons of videos on there from the live stream, and it's actually with Candace watching some of those old videos. I actually went back and watched some of the old ones. It's really fun to kind of look back and see how much see how the portfolio is growing, and how much I've learned, which is awesome. I wouldn't have been able to learn without doing this, sharing on the live stream, but also learning from people, from your comments and suggestions, and sending me articles, and these are very, very helpful. So I do appreciate it. We'll leave it at that. It's about 1:45. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I will have a stream posted for the next one. Keep an eye on that for the channel. So if you're subscribed, hit the notification. You'll get notified when we do go live. And we'll leave it at that. Hopefully you have a good rest of the day. Enjoy your coffee. I'm going to finish my coffee. And happy investing, everybody. We'll see you all in the next live stream.